shadows, the whispers glow. A shattered glass, a tale untold.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ready to get a little spooky? Today, we're diving into Bloody Shadows by Midnight Vibe 1986.
This one's really interesting. It takes the whole Bloody Mary thing and just twists it into something so creepy.
Yeah, it's not just about the ritual, you know? It is like this psychological trip into fear.
Totally. It's like the music itself becomes this mirror reflecting all our deepest fears.
Right. And like, right from the start, a candle flickers, the whispers grow, a shattered glass, a tale untold. You're just thrown right into it.
Oh, yeah.
You can practically feel the cold air smell that musty old bathroom, like you're actually there in the ritual.
It's so smart how those opening lines just grab you like that. They go right for that primal fear of the unknown, you know?
Totally.
Flickering candlelight, the whispers. It's like something is hiding, waiting just out of sight.
Midnight Vibe 1986 really knows how to set the scene. Then you add those down effects, the echoey vocals, the ghostly whispers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like playing with your senses, making the fear feel so real.
It's not just random noise, you know. They're carefully crafted to mess with your head. Like, think about how distorted voices, those whispers, tap into that fear of something unseen and unheard. Like, it's right there, but just beyond what you can understand.
It's like the music is another character in the story, building this heavy atmosphere.
Definitely.
And then you hit the pre-chorus. 3 times I spoke, the silence fell, the mirror shakes, a hollow spell. That repeating Bloody Mary 3 times, it's gotta be important, right?
Oh, absolutely. Repetition, especially in rituals and folklore, it has this powerful psychological effect. It's like a key that unlocks something unknown, breaking through to something else. When they chant Bloody Mary 3 times, it's not just words anymore. They've crossed a line, invoked something.
And that's where it gets in your head, right? Makes you think, is this all superstition? Or is there something more? A real spirit trapped in the mirror?
That's the brilliance of Bloody Mary, the whole legend. It plays on that fascination with the supernatural, things beyond our control. And then Bloody Shadows takes it further, hinting that the real monster might be inside us.
Wow. Okay, so speaking of Bloody Mary, who or what is she? Is she just a vengeful spirit? There's so many different takes on her.
Right, some people say vengeful spirit, others see her as a warning about vanity or missing with the occult.
Yeah.
Some folklorists think she might represent female rage or societal oppression.
All over the place.
But Bloody Shadows gets really interesting here. Look at these lyrics. Look in my eyes, you'll see me there. Inside the mirror, trapped in despair.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just some scary ghost anymore. It's suggesting she's something deeper, something inside us.
Like the darkness we all have. Those parts of ourselves we don't want to face.
Yeah, exactly. The fears, regrets, the stuff we bury deep down.
And the
music reinforces that idea, not just the spooky effects. The whole way it builds that unease, the cold piano, layered whispers, the intensity, it makes you feel the fear.
But you're experiencing it, not just hearing it. And then that image in the second verse. Her hollow eyes, they stare so deep. A crimson tear begins to weep. That crimson tear. So creepy. What do you think that means?
That's a good question. I think it speaks to the suffering of a trapped soul.
Okay, yeah.
A crimson tear from those empty eyes. It's like immense pain and sorrow, as if she's a prisoner of her own legend, forced to endure all the horrors people reflect onto her.
It's almost like you feel a little bad for her, right? Like, maybe she's not evil, just trapped in this cycle of fear and despair.
Right.
But on the other hand, that tear could be a bad omen too, like foreshadowing what's going to happen to the person telling the story.
Yeah, you're totally right. It could be both, a symbol of suffering and a warning. It's like the song is making us think about the consequences, you know? That darkness can swallow you whole if you go looking too deep into the unknown. Which brings us to the chorus, probably the most chilling part of the song. Bloody Mary, trapped in the glass, reflections fading, lost in the past.
Every time I hear that, I get chills. It's that primal fear of just losing yourself, like your reflection disappearing, and you're stuck on the other side.
Yeah, and not just physically disappearing. It's also about losing your identity, your memories that link to the past.
Whoa.
The reflections fading. It's like slowly losing who you are, as if the mirror's taking bits of your soul.
That's deep. And then it gets even darker in the final lines. Now I see the face in the mirror, staring back at me, subtle but terrifying.
Right. It's like their identities are blurring, the person telling the story merging with the monster. They stared into the abyss and became part of it.
Like they summoned something, but instead of it appearing in the mirror, it's taken root inside them.
Exactly.
That's a truly chilling thought.
It really makes you think about fear and how powerful our minds are, how we create monsters.
And the fact it all revolves around a mirror, that's no accident, right? Mirrors have always had this mystical, dangerous power.
Totally. Mirrors have fascinated and scared people for centuries. So many cultures see them as portals, traps for spirits.
Yeah.
Some believe they can steal your soul.
It's like they reflect not just our physical selves, but something deeper, more primal. And Bloody Shadows nails that.
It really does. What's fascinating is how it uses that ancient fear of mirrors to explore something even bigger, the fear of our own dark side.
Like, it's saying, be careful what you look for. Yeah, because you might not like what stares back.
Exactly.
We'll be right back to dive even deeper into this haunting song and what it reveals about our relationship with fear and the unknown.
That whole idea of mirrors being dangerous, it's not just some modern thing you know. It's been woven into human culture for centuries.
Oh, for sure. Like the myth of Narcissus, the Greek one. He fell in love with his own reflection and wasted away just staring at it.
Yeah.
A story that's been around for ages. It speaks to that fear of losing yourself in the mirror's illusion.
It's a great example of how mirrors have been used in stories you know. To explore vanity, obsession with yourself, the dangers of illusion. And some cultures even cover mirrors during funerals.
That's right, so the spirit doesn't get trapped.
Yeah, the belief is the soul could get lost in there and never make it to the afterlife.
It's like they've always been seen as these in-between spaces, these thresholds to something else. And Bloody Shadows gets that unease, like something's lurking behind the glass.
It totally does. The song goes right for that primal fear, using Bloody Mary to tap into those deeper anxieties we all have about what might be on the other side.
Yeah.
It's not just a spooky story, it's reflecting on being human, our fears, regrets, our capacity for darkness.
It's like we all have that Bloody Mary inside us, that dark side we hide. Maybe that's why it's so unsettling. It makes us face those parts of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's what good horror does, right? Lets us engage with our fears safely, explore the darkness without actually facing the consequences. Like a form of catharsis. You face your demons and come out stronger.
It's like holding a mirror up to your soul, not just your reflection, but what's underneath. And Bloody Shadows really creates that experience.
You're right. The song is so evocative. The lyrics, the music. It's not just the words, it's how they're delivered, how the music builds the tension. Midnight Vibe 1986 really knows how to tell a story. They created something truly haunting and thought-provoking.
It's amazing how much depth you can find in something like a song when you break it down. And that's what we do here on the Deep Dive, right? Encourage people to be curious, think critically, appreciate the world around us.
Exactly, and sometimes that world includes creepy legends and music that makes you question what's real and what's lurking just beyond our perception.
Right. Sometimes the deepest insights come from the darkest parts of our imagination. So speaking of which, is there a message in Bloody Shadows? Amoral? Is it just meant to scare us? Or there's something more?
I think it's open to interpretation, but for me, it's a warning about looking too deep into the abyss. Like sometimes it's better to leave some doors closed, some mirrors unlooked into.
I love that analogy. It's not just literal mirrors, right? It's those things we ignore, the parts of ourselves we don't want to face. And sometimes those things are just as scary as any monster.
Absolutely. It's like the song is saying, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes the truth is scarier than fiction.
That is a powerful takeaway. It's like Bloody Shadows is reflecting not just the Bloody Mary legend, but our anxieties about the unknown.
It reminds us that the scary little monsters are often the ones we make ourselves, the ones we project onto the world.
And sometimes those monsters are right there, staring back at us from our own reflections.
Chilling, isn't it? That's the power of a song like Bloody Shadows. It stays with you, making you question what you see, what you believe, and who you really are when you look in the mirror.
Okay, but before we disappear down that rabbit hole, let's shift gears and talk about the music itself. Because Bloody Shadows isn't just a creepy story, it's a masterpiece of atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. Midnight Vibe 1986 really knows how to use sound to create a mood, evoke emotions. The eerie piano melodies, distorted vocals, those haunting whispers, it's like they're painting with sound.
And the way it builds, it's like you're slowly getting pulled into a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to this song without getting chills.
Right. There's a deliberate pacing to the music, a slow burn that creates dread and anticipation. It's like the calm before a storm, and you know something bad is coming, but you can't look away.
It's like that feeling when you're watching a horror movie and you know the jump scare is coming, but you can't help it. But Bloody Shadows is so much more than just cheap thrills. The scares are rooted in something deeper, those primal fears about the unknown.
That's what makes it so good. It's not just surface level. It's about the psychological impact, making you question reality.
And the fact that it's built around this song and legend that's been passed down for generations, that just adds to it.
Definitely. It taps into that collective unconscious, those shared stories and fears, even if we don't always admit to them.
It's like Bloody Shadows is a key, unlocking a whole room of anxieties and fears that we all carry. But before we get lost in there, let's take a moment to think about what this all means for us. We'll be right back to unpack the deeper meaning of Bloody Shadows and what it tells us about ourselves and how music can tap into our darkest fears. Okay, so we've gone through the lyrics, the symbolism, the music. Bloody Shadows is clearly more than just a scary song. It's about our fears, anxieties, the things we try to hide.
It's really amazing how Midnight Vibe 1986 took the Bloody Mary legend and made it so unsettling, something that really makes you think.
It makes you think about the power of music, right? How it can tap into emotions and fears like nothing else.
Absolutely. Music has this crazy ability to go right past your rational mind, straight to your emotions. Think about how a song can take you back to a certain time, a place, or how a melody can make you feel happy or sad without even realizing it.
It's like music has this direct line to our subconscious. And Bloody Shadows is a perfect example of that, using sound and rhythm to create this feeling of dread, like you've just looked into the abyss.
And it's not just the scary sounds, it's how the music works with the lyrics to create this whole experience. Like the music is giving a voice to those unspoken fears and anxieties hiding in the story.
It's like those creepy piano melodies, the distorted vocals. They're whispers from our subconscious trying to tell us something we might not be ready to hear.
And that's what makes Bloody Shadows so good. It doesn't just tell a story, it pulls you in, makes you face your fears right alongside the person telling the story.
So after all this, after diving into Bloody Shadows, what's the most important thing for listeners to take away?
I think it's the reminder that sometimes the things that scare us the most are just reflections of our own demons. The song is a warning about looking too deep, both literally and figuratively. Exactly, and it's not just about staying away from mirrors, it's about being aware of the things we focus on, the stories we tell ourselves, the shadows we let grow in our minds. And sometimes facing those fears, even through a song or a story, can be a big step towards healing and understanding ourselves. That's a powerful message, especially coming from a song about a spooky legend and a haunted mirror. But be warned, it's not for everyone. Until next time, fellow deep divers, keep those minds curious and those imaginations